Hey everyone, welcome back to JVL Trades. Today we're going to show you how to install LED string lights on the pergola that you see behind me. What we're going to show you is one of the simplest ways to do this. It certainly helps to have a wood structure like this pergola to mount these things to. We're going to show you the simplest way to get these lights installed and to help transform this space. The brand we went with is made by a company called Fight Electric. We chose this particular brand. They seem to have a really good reputation, really good reviews. There's definitely a number of manufacturers out there. We chose these for a particular reason, and that is that these lights are spaced out at 2 feet each. It's a 48-foot string line, so you get a light every 2 feet. And in the case of this pergola, which happens to be 13 by 13, I thought that having lights spaced out at 2 feet versus 3 feet, which I see a lot of, would look better. Just smaller grouping, better light, and just a better visual. So we'll just go ahead and unbox these lights here quickly, give you an idea what you get in the package. Your light string, your bulbs, set of instructions. One thing I want to point out on this particular brand, see if I can get you to see this a little bit better. They do come with this mounting point, and just look at the reinforcement, the extra insulation around where the socket is fastened to. Other brands and other, I guess, lesser quality string lights don't seem to have this. So this is more of a commercial application, a commercial grade that's going to stand up to the weather outside. We get some pretty good temperature extremes, and it's going to take a little bit of abuse. So these look like they're well made. Just have a look at the Edison style bulb here. You can see your LED filament there. Nice thing about these is they're not glass bulbs. They are the shatterproof plastic version. So if you do have them hanging in a lower area and you run into them with something, they're not going to break. If they happen to fall onto the patio, onto the hardscape, they're not going to shatter. So these are said to be weatherproof. We're going to test that out. And we get a fair bit of wind in this area. So if they do happen to swing around and knock into something, they're not going to break like a typical or traditional glass bulb would. So that's kind of a quick overview of the of what you get in the package there. We'll go over the install of these, show you what we're going to do. And I mean, one of the main reasons is as the days start to get shorter, and sadly they will, we want to get more use out of the outdoor living area, and this is a good way to do it. It's going to provide us with warm light out here so we can stay outside longer and just extend the time spent in the backyard. Not a ton needed for tools here. It certainly helps to have an impact driver when you're driving screws into wood. And what we're going to be using in this particular case is a brown coated deck screw. These are 1.5 inches. Should be more than enough to bite into the material, and they won't rust. The heads won't snap off if you have to remove them. So important there to use a coated screw. Tape measure just to measure our starting point. The nice thing about this pergola and the way I've seen a lot of them built is your upper stringers are doubled up. So what we're going to try and do is mount our string light on the inside of the first stringer there, and that way visually the cord is tucked up in there. I may even mount it on the second one here, because from this angle you wouldn't really see it at all. You just see the light bulbs hanging down. And in this case, we've got ourselves a number 2 Robertson bit, and it is a 6-inch long bit, and that's going to help keep the body of this drill out of our way when we're mounting these things. But I'll get set up here and I'll show you what we're talking about. And one of the first steps is, if you do have some outdoor patio furniture, you want to clear your space where you're going to be working so you're unobstructed, especially if you're up on a ladder and you're not tripping over things. So we'll get that taken care of. One other thing I'll show you that we've done with this particular pergola is we left ourselves a conduit that runs back to the house. Eventually this will have an outdoor outlet mounted here, a Wi-Fi outlet actually plugged in, so that these lights can be controlled in the future with a smartphone versus unplugging them and plugging them in, or flipping on and off a switch. I kind of like the idea of just being able to turn them on and off from inside the house. So we're going to utilize a Wi-Fi transmitter, but it's certainly going to help to have this conduit ready to go. We will mount the outlet here eventually. That'll be a future video that I'll show you guys. And what we're going to do next is we're going to untangle our string light cord and get it spread out for the space we're going to be working in, so that we're not fighting with this thing when we're up on the ladder trying to install each socket. There we go. If you're doing this on your own, which it's definitely a DIY job, it can be a bit heavy when it's all tangled up like that. So spread out what you're working with, so you're only dealing with part of the string at once. And this kind of also gives me an idea of how far this is going to go. After we're done installing this, I can take some measurements, and I believe it's a 30-foot string that we're going to add to it to complete the job here. Anytime you guys are working on a surface where you have something that's uneven, or a different surface the ladder's standing on, just take the time to grab a chunk of wood and brace up that leg. Better to be safe than be standing on a wobbly ladder as you get set up here. There we go. Okay, grab our string light here, and of course you're going to want to start with the male end. Hey, don't get that backwards if you go through all the trouble of mounting this. And we're going to just loop this around so that it feeds down here, and I've got a point to plug it in. Actually, I might even have that up here so I can kind of hide the cord end. We'll just be running a temporary extension cord in that space. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of eyeballing where I'm going to have the lights, what line I want to use. And if I had a second pair of hands, I could find out the measurement on each side and snap a chalk line to follow. But in this case, I'm pretty happy with how that is. So I'm going to make a mark, and I'll just measure off that mark from the bottom, 1 7/8. We can call it 2 inches. That's where we're going to put our fastener in, so our light hangs down. Just grab a bulb here and screw one of those in, just to kind of give you a visual of what we're dealing with. Basically all I want to see on this install is just the bulbs hanging down. That looks good to me. So get your light into position on your mark there. Grab yourself a screw on your drill. You'll have to be at a slight angle here, and don't drive it all the way home. Just snug it up. It's going to hold your line tight, and when you go on to do your next one, you simply stretch that out and you're ready to go. So as you prepare to put up the next one here, you want to match up your heights, and you're working by yourself. All I did was I cut a chunk of cardboard to 1 7/8, 2 inch. Use that as your guide for the top of the install there, and you're ready to put that one in. This doesn't have to be 100% perfect either, as long as you're fairly close. We'll get this one ready to put in. There, just snug so that it grabs a hold of it. And while we're up here, screwing our bulb, and we'll do this as we go. You guys get the gist of what I'm doing here. Just making a mark, lining up to that mark, and dropping the screw. Line up to your mark, get your fastener ready, and screw that in. You can see the 6-inch bit comes in handy. It's basically not letting the body of the drill interfere here. A shorter bit, and you probably wouldn't be able to get up there on this flat of an angle. So there we go. Screw this bulb in. You guys get the gist of this. I'm going to set the camera up on a bit of a time lapse, and I'll be putting this in. Probably stop when I feed it through the corner over there, show you how we do that, and up and over again in the middle stringer. But we'll catch back up with you in a bit. Okay, so what we did here, guys, is we came up and through. Actually, the post was pretty tight to the stringer, so I cut a little notch in it so I could properly feed my cord through there. So now we're right back to the same step, just mounting each of these lights. So I just wanted to kind of show you how I tuck the wire up through the corner so you're not going to really see it. Well guys, we run into a situation here where we gotta backtrack. We'll tack our cord up there. I was going to put these up high and have no bulbs in them just so that it looked even around the pergola, but I think for now I'm just gonna tack them up in the middle of each of these runs, and we'll see what that looks like. We're trying to get these, you know, nicely spaced and fairly even looking, so if we don't like the looks of that, I'll pull the bulbs out, pick the sockets up. I believe these strings run, they don't have to have all the bulbs in to light up, so we'll give that a test as well. All right, we've reached the end of our run. I need to pick up a couple clips, take a quick measurement. Looking good so far, everything's all nicely spaced out. I do like the 2-foot spacing, so we're gonna measure up for our last string. I think a 20-footer will do, so we will head off to the store, see what we can grab, and come and finish this job up. All right guys, we're just gonna join our second string on here, and to fasten that up properly I'm gonna use these cable clips. So they basically go in, wrap around the cable. These are 3/8 clips. They tighten up, they are plastic, so they're not going to gouge anything. So we're going to put one on each side and just support this connection here. There we go. And that's nice and secure. As you can see, we've made our connection, and we also continued to hang most of this 30-foot string, and brought ourselves around to the starting point again, and we are left with I'd say about an 8-foot chunk of string light. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna run back down the middle string here and just space them out in between these lights, and it'll actually be over sort of the main seating area. It'll add a bit more light, and not a bad way to use up a light string that's a little bit long. So we'll get ready, we'll install this last piece, and we'll wrap this one up. And to properly finish up our install here, we will cap the open end of the cord just like so, and put on one of our clips, and we will just fasten this up out of the way. This is easy to add to in the future. Just tuck it out of the way, and there we go. All right, well, job is all wrapped up. Now the only thing left to do is to cross your fingers and plug the lights in, and see if they come on. Check it out. It looks like we've got success. First thing we're going to do is just make sure that all our bulbs are lit up, and they look to be. What a way to transform this space. It, like I said earlier, it basically allows you to use this later into the evening. Such a nice warm light. It's not hard on the eyes at all. This looks really, really good. So that's going to wrap this one up, guys. I really want to thank everyone for subscribing and liking and watching the videos. Feel free to leave a like on this one, a comment if you have something similar done, and we'll catch you on the next one.